It's time for another episode of Hops and Hedges, where we talk about beer, landscaping, and everything in between. Season 1 is proudly sponsored by ext.tech, helping you grow and revolutionize your landscaping business. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in. There we go. Here we are on Hops and Hedges. Today with me, I've got Joanne Shaw from Down the Garden Path. Welcome, Joanne. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Excited you're here. You're another guest who I actually didn't know personally, and you reached out and you're like, hey, I have a podcast. I should come on your podcast. Let's talk. And absolutely, I'm so excited to meet you. We talked for the first time over the phone yesterday, and I'm really excited to hear more about you and your business and kind of where you've been and where you're going. So welcome.
Excellent. And we're both landscape designers, so
I know,
lots in common, right?
Love that. So you are in Pickering, Ontario.
I am.
So have you been down the garden path? How long has that been around?
The podcast, which started as a radio show, I'm entering my 10th season, which is shocking. But we've gone through a few changes, and I'm about to embark on another new change. But yeah, it started on internet radio 10 years ago.
Wow. And what about your landscape design business?
That I've been doing that for about 18 now.
Wow.
I know.
Okay. So how did you get into it? Was it school? Was it just gardening as a kid? Or tell us a story.
Well, it is an interesting story. So it all goes back to buying your first house, as a young married couple. And we bought a new house in end of October, and we moved in January. And it was a bungalow with quite, in this day and age, quite a nice size property. And then spring came. We both commuted downtown. So we were both working downtown on the GO trade. And then spring came and all these gardens and all these plants popped up. And it was like, oh my goodness, like I've got to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And with the help of my mother-in-law, but also on our own, we rototilled very good, lovely gardens because we didn't know better.
Yep.
We tilled them all up, planted all the wrong things. Well, not mostly wrong things in certain spots. And then fast forward to having a couple of kids and being home more and really wanting to learn. And my mother-in-law taught me a lot. And I read a lot, and I realized that I could remember, like I didn't remember what I did at work the next day, but the last day, but I remembered that this plant, the name of it, and that it grew in the shade, that type of thing. So I looked into, after the second child, especially once they started getting a little bit older, I started working at a nursery, at a garden center. People are happy buying plants, right? So it was fun.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to learn more. And at the time, from the East End, there really was only Ryerson.
Okay.
And so it was a landscape design certificate. And I wasn't even thinking design. I just wanted to learn more about plants. I took all their it was at the time 7 courses. I took all their 5 of them were plant courses. And then one of them was landscape design. And then it was like, well, if I do 2 more, I get the certificate. So I might as well go through. So it's kind of how it started, and over that time, and I did it continuing ed in the evening as my kids got older. Again, they were little, like kindergarten, that type of thing. And I did 1 course at a time, but, I was still working at the nursery, still learning there, and then neighbors and friends and things like that. So you really got to play. And so mine was very gradual.
Okay. Very cool. I love how you say that, people they're happy buying house plants or like buying plants. Like I don't think I've seen many miserable people at greenhouses.
Exactly. Yeah. I know. Because retail can be hard, right? Like, when you're trying to, sell jeans to people or bathing suit, you know what I mean? That's hard. But retail with plants, it was hard physically because for some reason, garden centers think we need to move those heavy pots every other day to a new location, which, is not very good. But, overall, they're pretty happy.
Yeah. I remember I've done 2, actually, I guess a few more of that now, but a few different jobs at different retail greenhouses. And I think the general public love the idea of working at a greenhouse until you work at the greenhouse, and it is labor intensive. Like it really is. You're getting your steps in, you're walking on concrete floors. The heavy lifting, it is hard work. It's good work, but it is hard work.
Yes. And the benches, you're laying out plan. I remember we used to color block patients, right? And I do not think that the plant benches at the time, anyway, were ergonomically at the right height.
Oh
So,
yeah, definitely not.
right? So,
No. Huh.
so yeah, it is. And I once worked at a flower shop, and people often think of that too, right? Oh, it must be so lovely to work at a flower shop. Oh yeah, all these pretty flowers come in heavy buckets of water that you're
Yes.
lugging. So yeah, very
And
hard
bending
work.
over and picking and choosing and
Hmm.
oh yeah.
Lifting the buckets into the freezer and or fridge and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not all
Oh
about playing with
geez.
pretty flowers. It's a lot of work.
It is. Yep. It's a great
Yeah,
place to start though for anybody
it
wanting
is.
to get into landscaping or landscape design. I often tell them two things that an instructor told me is learn your plants, right? So
Mhm.
you need to work at some sort of nursery or greenhouse. And the other one is get
Yes.
your maintenance experience. Because if you know what
Mm,
works and what doesn't work,
yep.
looking after a garden, you start to see certain patterns,
Hmm.
certain plants in certain conditions, or one of the biggest things or biggest examples I keep seeing are really intense curves in gardens that a lawnmower can't actually do,
Yeah.
right? So things like that.
Yes.
Um,
And I agree. I say the same thing too. I think working at a garden center or a nursery it's a crash course. You couldn't learn that. It would take you a long time in books
yeah.
and in courses to learn it. You need like it's because a lot of it is the same questions. It's the same, and it's what
Mhm.
our clients they're the pain points, and they seem to be the same pain points regardless of whether you're in Toronto, you're in London, or you're in Pickering.
Yep. Big key word is low maintenance.
That's right.
We go for a consultation, that initial visit, and what do they say? I'd like a
Uh,
low maintenance garden.
yes.
No, you want a high
Yeah.
maintenance garden. I would be more shocked if somebody says, I'm looking for something high maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, that would kind of take me off guard, I think. That'd be fun though. Um, so something about your business, you said something you would do differently is start younger. So did you have an inclination when you were younger?
I didn't. It really was that house, and
Yeah,
and so I did not have an inclination. But I think physically, working at the garden center was physical as well. So I think if I had started that younger,
right.
I could have avoided a few, back injuries and
Mm-hmm.
just been able to do that. And even from a design standpoint, I wish I had more of a construction, experience
Yep.
on a job site. So, and that would have involved, doing it younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because I feel like regardless of the profession we end up in, it the things that we do and experience lead us to a certain point in our life where
Yeah.
then the term that comes to mind is dharma. So it's this concept, it's
Oh,
a three meaning. I've got the book right there. Oh my gosh, I
okay.
can't think of it. But it's what are you good at? What does the world need or what do other needs that they're willing to um pay you for, and what do you enjoy doing? And if you can
Ah,
find something that checks off all three of those boxes that's said to be your dharma or your life purpose,
okay.
and for me, landscape design checked all of those off, and I feel
Mhm.
so lucky that I
Yeah.
discovered it quite by accident at 26. Like
Oh,
how many
wonderful.
people,
Hmm.
either never find it or
Hmm.
find it really much later. So
Yeah.
I thank the stars every day.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
things that like buying of a house, right? Things that you don't predict that will lead you down that path, which I think is great. So,
yeah.
and it's wonderful that you were able to find it so young.
Oh, I feel so lucky that I did. I grew up watching I don't know if my parents will listen to this episode or not, but I
Yeah.
don't have a lot of memories of my parents enjoying their jobs.
Mm,
And I'm not sure if they did or not. And I'm sure that there were good days, but I don't have a lot of memories of seeing them energized to go to work in the morning and coming home feeling proud for the work that
mm,
they completed or did or started or
yeah, same.
and that was always something growing up. I was like, I'm not going to stay in a job just because I have to. Life is too short. And I know I have to. We all
Mhm.
have to. But there's got to be something else that can pay my bills that doesn't make me want to have a nervous breakdown every time I show up to work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and then I found it. Ah. Um, so you're primarily design. And so are you working with subcontractors then?
I work with namely two contractors. I don't sub though. I kind of
Yep.
connect, the insurance, issues and stuff, right? So I don't
Hmm.
sub out, but I will. It's kind of like matchmaking, right? I find the right client for the right contractor.
Yep.
Sometimes it's a skill, sometimes it's timing. One might
Hmm.
be booked further than the other. So yeah, so I work mainly with two. I've got a couple of other ones, but for the most part, yeah.
Nice. Very similar to me because I always think I can lug stone around and then my body reminds me that I can't.
I know, I
So
know.
if it's softscaping, because I love getting in the
Hmm.
garden and I love having my hands in the soil.
Yeah,
But if it's too much, then I bring in some reinforcements.
yeah.
So you're primarily design then, and you've got the podcast, Down the Garden Path. And so tell me, because you also have a book
Yeah,
with the
I
same title,
do.
right? Down the
Hmm.
Garden Path, which means
Yes.
it's great, very easy for people to find you. Just down
Yes.
the garden path and can find you.
Yes.
So,
And I will send you one. So we'll talk about that afterwards because I'd love
oh
for your
geez.
feedback on it. So yeah, we kind of have a neat story in that. So part of my time as so I said it started 10 years ago. And 4 years in, a friend of mine who was a frequent guest, Matthew Dressing, he joined as a co-host. So then we proceeded to do, 5 years together. And in
Wow.
that time, he started teaching at Durham College. And one of our popular episodes, monthly, we started doing the last Monday of the month because our radio show was on Monday nights at 7 on Reality Radio 101. So that was our station. And so, so the last Monday of, let's say, July, we did August in the garden, all the things you do and don't do in the August garden. And we also had like a star in the garden. So what looks good? So if you've got nothing blooming, then these are our suggestions of what you could plant.
Okay.
And after looking at stats over a couple of years, we noticed they were very popular episodes. Given that it was internet radio, people, I would say clients, but people could write in during the show and ask us questions, and those were very popular. So we started thinking about, could we write a book? I also have a newsletter for my business, also called Down the Garden Path, where it came from, because I found my clients, right? We design a beautiful garden, we install it for homeowners, and then we have to walk away. And it's always like,
Yeah.
oh. So I found I couldn't respond to all the emails and all the questions the next year. And so I thought I would be better to be proactive with the
Hmm.
information. So at the beginning of every month, and I'm still doing it. So at the beginning of every month, this is what you do or you don't do in the garden. So we felt like, okay, with all those years of, articles I've written for that, the 2 years of the podcast, we've got lots of content. Well, you still need more, but we embarked on a journey to release a book. So yeah, and that's what we did. So and it's a step-by-step guide to your Ontario garden.
Oh, looks
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, thank you. And we really feel there's a lot of books out there that, show you how to prune or show you how to water or show you how to seed start, but not necessarily when,
When?
and we felt that's what people want. And that's part of the no maintenance. There's not such thing as no
Right.
maintenance. When they say I want low maintenance, I'm like, well, I don't do plastic plants and there's no such thing.
Yeah, and even
We can,
plastic plants require maintenance. You
they
have
do,
to wash them
you
like
do.
4 times a season.
Yeah. So we felt that this, really was a good way to let people know. And because of climate change, like you can't just say spring anymore,
No.
right? Because sometimes and you find that the March and April book sections of the book do kind of overlap because sometimes it's so early spring and you can do those things. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's late and you can't do them in March. You have to do them in April and then everything else shifts, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're very proud of it. And
So cool.
yeah,
I love my books. This is only one of my libraries. I also have 4, I don't know if you can see, but I've got 4 massive like totes
oh,
underneath
filled with
that
books.
are also filled with books. And I've gone through them. These are the ones that I'm not letting go of. So,
Oh,
I'm so happy for you that you've got a book out on people's shelves. That is so
hmm.
exciting.
Yeah,
It's
it is
it's on my
exciting.
bucket list.
Yeah, and it's a great gift for your clients, right?
Yeah.
So, in addition to the podcast, in addition to the newsletter, it's a great way to leave and give them it's just like a big business card, really,
Yeah.
and know that they're kind of in good hands.
Right. Oh, I think there's something really romantic about, going into a library or a bookstore or somebody's house and seeing your book on
Mm,
a shelf.
yeah.
I can't wait. It's going to happen one of these days. So before we get into more plants and stuff, I'm wondering what you're drinking.
Oh,
And even if it's water, I'd love to know about it.
it is not water. I went for coffee. So I have an Ember. I don't know if you've heard of that Ember.
Amber.
So
Hmm.
it's an Ember coffee mug and it keeps my coffee warm for me.
That's cool.
Isn't it cool? Because so it's not only the drink that I'm drinking, but it's like a heated mug. Because you get into something and you turn for your coffee or tea and it's cold, and then you've
Ice
got to
cold.
go right, and you got to go microwave it. And so my boys even bought me one year for Mother's Day. I think it was like mom's cold coffee, warm it up because my mug would always be
Oh,
perpetually
that's
in the
funny.
microwave. So yeah, so then
So is
one of
it
them
like
went
on a
ahead and
little, like the saucer is a heater? Is that how it
yeah,
works?
the saucer it connects. There's a little thing at the bottom. So yes,
Huh.
so the saucer charges the mug. So you can see it's kind of got a white light now, so it's charged.
Okay.
And so the mug will hold its heat for a while without the disc, but then you put it
Cool.
back on the disc to keep charging it.
And that's
So
Ember with an E or Amber with an
yes,
A? Ember with an
Ember with
E.
an E. So
Okay,
shout
we'll
out to
have
Ember.
to. Yeah,
But I think
definitely
it's a
will.
great thing for those of us that work from home.
Yeah, or especially creatives, I find, we get into it, we get into that zone,
Right.
that state of flow that people refer to, where you just lose track of time.
Yeah.
And then you kind of sit back and you're like, oh yeah, coffee. And it's freezing cold because you've been at it for 4 hours all of a sudden.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes.
So
And
I've
when you
got,
work from home and you go downstairs to microwave it, and then you're like, oh, I should put the dishes away. Oh, I should do right. And
and
then
then your
you're like,
coffee's cold
oh,
again.
exactly. And an hour later, you're still not back in your office. So it kind of keeps me here. So
Okay,
how
we'll
about you?
definitely have to look that up.
What hops are you drinking?
Today I am drinking a Lunatic Fridge, which is a very
Ooh.
fun name.
Oh yeah.
It's brewed locally by
Okay.
Toboggan in London, Ontario. It's one of my go-to IPAs that, regardless of the mood, it always seems to hit the spot. But they actually have one called Double Lunatic Fridge. So it's a double IPA and it comes in a red can, but I'm finding it hard to find, and that was my favorite. So this will have
Oh,
to do.
okay.
So
That's good.
very cool. Thank you for sharing your mug with me because
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
think I might have to put that on my Dear Santa, what I would like for
Yes.
Christmas this year list.
Yes. Yeah. It
Um,
helped when you had a son work at Best Buy. So it was like
oh
anything
yes.
that was techie or a gadget, so it was a techie gadget, good for
Yep.
mom. So yeah.
Excellent. So let's talk about plants
Hmm.
because why not?
Yes.
So you had mentioned to me that hydrangeas, except the microphylla ones, are your favorite.
Hmm.
So do you have a favorite of a favorite hydrangea?
I do little quick fire.
Little quick
I
fire.
love it. I love that the size, the compact, again, low maintenance does mean for me to,
Yep.
smaller plants that aren't going to get out of control for their homeowners. And of all the ones I have in my garden, Little Quickfire blooms the earliest.
Hmm.
I find in the fall it has,
Stunning.
yeah, and foliage has fall color, very similar to not quite as good as my oak leaf, but it still has
Yep.
nice fall foliage. And I love the transition. I love that it starts white and then goes to light pink and then goes to dark pink. So
Hmm.
it's a nice thing that just changes throughout the landscape. So I
Right.
have 9 of them in different spots, 3 different spots.
Yep.
So a little bit of an obsession, but I think they would work for almost everybody's garden because one of my grouping of 3 is in like the east side with less light, and they still perform well.
Wow. Yeah, I think the um oh my gosh, my brain just stopped working, which sometimes
That's
happens.
okay.
So Little Quick Fire,
Hmm.
Sykes Dwarf, and Ruby Slippers are
Okay.
three. I think Ruby Slippers though is an oak leaf.
Yes, I think that is an
Okay,
oak leaf. What's the other one? I am not familiar. Paniculata?
Um, let me actually look it up
Oh,
because
okay.
now I'm like it is a hydrangea, right? It's another oak leaf.
Okay.
Yeah, Sykes dwarf. So it has really, really tight clusters, and that
Oh.
one gets really nice, like deep purple foliage in the
Hmm.
fall. So just
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah. And
Um,
they are native, the quercifolia, right? So I am trying to use a few more of those in people's yards
yeah, I know that there's some that are
or
quote unquote
nativars.
native. Yeah, because the wild ones, and there's a name for them that I can't remember. I'll have to look it
Yeah.
up later. That I think are considered native, but
Hmm.
I'm not sure how much these cultivars support pollinators just because they're
Yeah.
so they're not quite double flowering, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure. Something to look. See,
Yeah.
we learn something new every day, which I love.
We do, we do. And I never thought of them because I have a large variety in my garden. And, because I want instant, of course I planted three really close together.
Hmm.
I never really paid much attention to them as from up close necessarily. But I noticed this, and then the whole, talk about native plants. And I happen to be really paying much better attention this past season and noticing how many, and it was native bees. It was the teeny tiny
Nice.
bees
Yeah.
that were all over the oak leaf. So I was like, huh.
Good to
So
know.
you're right. I don't know if that's the case for the smaller
Hmm.
nativars, but I'm looking forward to trying out. I do too a lot of, I don't know about you, I kind of test out new things in my own garden if I can,
Yes.
right?
My garden does look like a testing war zone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's
There's
hard because
not
then you
much
run out of
plan.
space, right? Yeah.
Well, I have lots of space. We've moved in over 10 years ago now,
Okay.
and I know what my garden looks like in my mind, but
Yes.
then actually like pulling the trigger to do it, because I'm like, well, what if I
Yeah.
change my mind? Even though the
Hmm.
garden idea, like I've got it designed in my mind, but I'm like, well, I
Hmm.
might change my mind. The
Hmm.
idea and the plan hasn't changed in like 5 years, but it might
Yes.
still. So I haven't
Yes.
started.
Yes. Yeah.
Worst garden on the street. It's
Oh.
great. One day. One day. So, it's funny. I always like kind of bypass that question for myself, favorite plants, because I
Okay.
I don't I
You
it's
don't have
hard
a
for me.
favorite?
Do you know what? So if I had to pick, like gun to my head, pick a favorite plant, I actually really like the ginkgo
Oh,
trees.
yes.
And I know that it's not pollinator or native, but what I do like about it is the stunning white foliage in fall, like just bright yellow. And then
Yes.
when all the leaves fall, it looks like
I know.
yellow petals, just
Hmm.
a sea or a pond of them, which is beautiful. And I
Yes.
think it's cool that they were around the dinosaurs, so you can find ginkgo fossils. They're not really prone to any diseases or get attacked
Hmm.
by pests. They've been around for a long time. So I
Yeah.
kind of like the resiliency of ginkgos.
Hmm. That's
And I
good.
do have tattoo of ginkgo leaves on my arm
Oh, do you? Okay.
because it for me it just means resilient,
Yeah, it's a
that
funky leaf for sure.
stands strong.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. I have one as a city tree. I'm lucky enough to have one as a city tree. And I know
nice.
what they say that nothing feeds off of it, but and mine happens to be fairly, sometimes they can be open branching, but mine is actually pretty tight.
I wonder if it's a
And
Princeton Sentry.
maybe, but the birds hide in there. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
cool. And so all summer, they may not be eating in there, but they like being in there.
Yep.
So I think to myself, you know what? It's a good tree. And
Yeah.
yes, and it makes a good city tree because of its resiliency and it's salt
Mm-hmm.
tolerant and all of that. So yeah.
Hmm. I sometimes forget about the birds, even though
Hmm.
I in my when I'm designing, I'm very conscious of that. But you're right. Yeah, birds can hang out in the tree, and just because things aren't necessarily eating it doesn't mean it's not
Right.
providing some sort of benefit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so what about house plants? Do you consider yourself a collector or not so much,
Oh.
or a wannabe collector, or
Well, I've got a new little obsession with air plants. So I have a lot of plants,
okay,
but yeah, but one of the challenges as being a gardener or a plant lover, when you travel, you can't bring back plants,
right.
but you can bring back air plants because there's no soil. Isn't that
Interesting.
great? So I started collecting, and on the podcast, you should get him for a guest as well. Dave's air plants. So he started. So young man, he needed a unique gift for a friend's. When you get married and
Yeah.
something at the table, and he came up with these with air plants, and then he fell in love with them. So he grows them, and he has an online store. So
Wow.
yeah, so these two, I was at a garden fling in September in Philadelphia, and I bought these two little guys.
They're so cute.
And yeah, I love I love that they actually kind of require furniture, like these little pots, right?
Right? They're so cute.
Aren't they cute? And they're easy. Every 2 weeks, fill the bathroom sink, dunk them in for 20 minutes, take them out.
And that's it.
That's it. That's it. So I've got this nice little display in my office. My son also really likes them, so he's got some in his room and some interesting containers. And in one of our bathrooms, there's one that looks like a jellyfish. So
Oh,
it's
cute.
it's clumped at the top and has all the tendrils. So I have it hanging from a hook in one of the
Yep.
bathrooms. So yeah, I think it's a fun, it's different. So yeah, so I would say right now my little obsession and addiction is these little little
That's
air
so
plants.
cool. I'm
Mm.
embarrassed to admit that I've killed an air plant
Mm.
because I usually am the person who overwaters my house plants.
Mm-hmm.
And with air plants, I had it in a nice little corner so that I knew that I wouldn't overwater it, but then I completely forgot about it,
Yes.
like for months. Forgot that I had an
Mm.
air plant. It's like, oh, can't quite do that. So,
Yes.
I've got a little bit of everything going on. I'm still experimenting with house plants,
Mm-hmm.
because winter and lights and that kind of stuff, but I'm very
Can be
fond of the
tricky.
begonias.
Ah, beautiful
So,
foliage, right?
yeah, and there's so at least here at our house, I don't know what the humidity level is,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got to be decent enough for the begonias, and I really like them. So,
Oh, that's great.
so for work, so either as a designer or a gardener, is there either a piece of software or a piece of equipment that you are like really excited
Okay.
about?
Yes. I have a few. I mean, I love Dynascape, so I design with
Dynascape?
Dynascape, so I
Okay.
love Dynascape. I invested a few years ago in the zip level, which helps me, do some levels in grading when I do, hardscape in a design. And so my contractors like that I'm doing that for them a little bit. They always have to
Yep.
double check, right?
Yep.
But I have to say, one of the other things is I invested in a sit stand desk because I'm
Nice.
old now and my back. So it is nice to, you wouldn't think that you could work standing up, but you can.
Oh yeah.
And designing, and it's nice to have that variety. So I really like it. So yeah, so how's that for lots of equipment that
I
goes
love
towards,
that. I'm jealous
not
that you have a
necessarily.
zip level because
Oh yes.
that is a really cool piece of equipment to get your grades and your levels to
Hmm.
figure out um because
Yeah.
I've never done the like the laser level, but the zip level has
Mm.
it attached,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
Oh, it's
It is.
very
So
easy to
no
use
more
and
counting bricks and that kind of thing, right? To get the levels.
yeah, every
So
once in a while I find I'm in a tight spot and I'm still counting bricks.
counting bricks. Yeah, do you zoom in on the picture and like you're kind of counting
Yeah,
the
so I take
bricks, right?
measurements on site. So if
Yes.
there's because there's also the joint, like the mortar
Yep.
also has, so you can't just measure the thickness of the brick. I go, so one brick plus
Hmm.
mortar is how many inches, and
Right.
then figure it out from there. So
Yeah.
very fun. So you mentioned a project or a feature that you're proud of that you might like to discuss is an outdoor wall that you worked on.
Yes, I have an amazing client that built a new home, but they built it around an existing garage. Hard to explain. So the garage was, was deep, it was a deep garage and went back, and off of that they had a deck and quite a large deck. So the wall of the garage was just this blank wall,
Right.
and I designed, their whole backyard. But the client, and again, she became a very good friend. She said, wouldn't it be great to have a plant wall and have plants? And you think and she'd been to Ecuador, she'd been to South America and seen them, obviously tropical places
Yeah.
have them on the walls, European cities have them on the walls or roofs. And I said, well, leave it with me and let me see what I can come up with. No promises. And so I found a girl, Ashley, who has Live Canada. I'll make sure I get you the correct her correct website.
Okay.
And she has a system where you install it. And the benefit of it being the wall of the garage is that we could put the irrigation in the garage
Huh.
right through, and the homeowner built like a little niche for it to sit in. We kind of worked with her to figure out, okay,
Hmm.
how big, how tall, and how wide, and then all the irrigation is inside the garage. And yeah, and so we created this is past its third season now. Obviously we can't keep them up for the winter, so we're still experimenting on what to do for winter. we've had
Okay.
we've been able to save some plants. The boxwood's hard to save, as you know, through the winter. overwintering them in pots. So everything stays in 1 gallon pots, and that's what fits into the little cubby holes that are kind of at an angle. And
Yeah.
it creates a really nice,
Hmm.
display. And the kicker is the client didn't want flowers.
Right.
So it's all texture. It's all green, different shades of green. So the hostas have done great,
Yep.
and she really loves it. She really didn't care about flowers. She just
Huh.
wanted something really interesting. And it was a perfect secluded, it's north facing, but it does get west and kind of a bit of east sun, protected from the wind, except
Mm-hmm.
for the bottom corner, we find that does dry out a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So she really had, the unique space and the unique location that we were able to pull it off.
That's so cool. So does the whole unit have to come down for winter? Or just
No,
the
just the
plants get pulled
plants.
out?
Yeah, yeah, just the
Interesting. Like
plants
I
get
wonder
pulled
if
out.
like the hostas, do you take them out as well, or do they overwinter in the system?
We don't overwinter them in the system. We've talked about different things like whether, and we've reached out to other people for input on whether we, wrap it. So we've tried a few different things. First year we didn't have, oh, see, their challenge is their garage is heated. So if the garage
Ah,
wasn't heated, we probably would have
right.
better luck. So
Yeah, that would
the
dry
first
everything
year,
out for
right.
sure.
So the first year we overwintered everything in the garage. Client did a great job watering, but we lost all the boxwoods. The hostas were
Right.
good. The hostas survived. The grasses survived, most of them, but it was a lot too for him to kind of keep an eye on. And then the second year we overwintered at a grower. He offered to overwinter them for us.
Hmm.
So that was good, but still required a lot of work, right? Getting them there, getting them back, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So they actually have an interesting big property and then this kind of gully in front of a cedar hedge at their house.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of said, why don't we try overwintering them here? And outside instead of in the garage. And
Yep.
so we did that. We kind of lined the ground with landscape fabric. I had a contractor help me, and we brought all the plants down and watered them well and covered them and buried them in mulch. So it's an experiment. They
Yeah.
realized that, but they wanted something that they could just do themselves, right?
Right.
And so yeah, so fingers crossed that they survive.
I love that aspect of gardening and landscaping is that you're it's all discovery. It's all about
Yes.
trying new things. And one of my favorite quotes or memes is that the biggest mistake that a gardener can make in their garden is thinking they have everything under control. It's like,
Yes.
no, plants are going to just decide to do their own thing and we get to learn from it. So, which is pretty
Yeah, I'll
cool.
just show you really quickly so you can see a quick video.
Oh,
Do you,
awesome.
do you see it?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Oh man, that's cool. Is that Hakone Kloa at the
Yes.
bottom?
So
Wow.
it kind of it loved it. Look how good it looked.
Yeah.
And then we had the blue hosta as a contrast, and then some green and white hosta there.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So yes.
Ah, makes me want to do one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Me too.
Hmm.
Believe me, I've got a plain brick wall that I would love to
Yeah,
do
me
one.
too. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we got about 3.5 minutes left here. So I
Okay.
just want to end with a couple more questions for you.
Sure.
So aside from your book, because of course everyone should have that book. I mean,
Thank you.
obviously. But is there a book either for landscapers, landscape designers,
Mm.
horticulturalists, or a professional development book that you could recommend?
Hmm. I'm just looking at my bookshelf.
Yep.
I would say House Strip Gardening, I'm going to say, is a very good book. And again, I had her as a guest on the radio show, and I changed my outlook that, you know, we can still garden. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? The land
Right.
and the soil, we can still make it work. And turn something that might be trodden down, especially if you think of the boulevards, right? That dogs pee on and people walk on
Mm-hmm.
and snows on, that type of thing. And my garden is that I go right. I don't have a sidewalk, and I go right to the street. So those plants had to be tough plants. And what I started with was tough conditions. Not everybody can afford to like dig everything out, nor should we now that we know.
Yep.
So health strip gardening really taught me with work with what you have. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean, there are really tough plants. We did it by covering our grass with cardboard. in the
Yep.
fall, like in October, with 6 inches of mulch, and come July, I could plant in it. Is it the best soil? No. Are the plants living and thriving? Yeah,
Yep.
they are. So I think it really made me realize that you can grow in tough spaces and with little little amending.
I love that. And doesn't that have it kind of sounds like us as gardeners too, that we are resilient,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yes.
It's
Yep.
like we might not have the ideal or perfect conditions all the time, but we find a way. We find a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. And don't you think in people's yards the boulevard is a forgotten spot?
Oh, big
You
time.
know, like if every neighborhood had so because I have in my there's three of us now, right? Because I've mine goes right to the street, and then the neighbor across the street kind of has a little area, and then the one next to the door, I mean, and then I take extra over, right? Like I give divide, and
Oh, I
so I just
love
think,
that.
oh, could you imagine the boulevards? How lovely it would walk down the street to not see that horrible grass that nobody can grow and
I'd
have it be
rather
gardens.
that than grass any day. So
Yes.
I'm going to
Yeah.
wrap us up, but I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show and reaching out. I am really looking forward to reading your book and to listening in on your podcast. And thanks for being on Hops and Hedges.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Thanks. That concludes this week's episode, hosted by me, Heather Gerard at My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's some info about our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, your landscaping business needs modern solutions to keep up with the change. That's where EXT comes in. EXT is revolutionizing the way you manage projects and streamlines your landscaping, snow removal, and construction operations. Instead of juggling 5 different software packages, endless spreadsheets, losing track of leads, and missing out on potential sales, you could be leveraging AI job routing, client management, and financial insights with a modern mobile app that employees love to use. With EXT's flat rate pricing, you'll never be caught off guard. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech today to learn more. And for additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you. See you next week for another episode of Hops and Hedges.